Today I have a haul. It is my first booktube haul. Cue the applause. I have, of course, hauled books my entire life. I used to come home from the library with a stack of 20 books. They only allowed you to check out 10. You don't need to know how I ended up with 20. But I always had late fees too, because I never could read all of the books in the amount of time that they gave you. And that was when I was probably like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Loved the library as a kid. Had a ton of books as a kid. I have tons of books in storage now that when we move, I will have to go through and decide what stays and what goes. And yet, I still purchase books because I love them. I give books as gifts. I give books away to people just because I think they should read them. And I donate a lot of books. So when I buy them, I typically know they're either going to end up on my shelf or someone else's shelf. And I don't mind buying books. There are a lot of worse things I could be buying. I could be a crackhead. This is not to offend crackheads, but I'm just saying. There are a lot of worse things I could be buying. I think all of us in the book world know that. I'm just going to show you what I hauled. Some of this is from Amazon. Some of this is from Barnes and Noble. I have a couple of Kindle books, and I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to sit and talk about each book because I do plan on reading these books. So I will talk about them in depth when I read them. I will maybe do a little bit of a blurb on some of them because there are specific reasons why I bought them. So I will do that. So let's get into it. Let's get into my first book haul. Hey! As you can see, I have some hardbacks and I have some paperbacks. I have no idea why I divided these up this way because I'm not going to talk about them this way. No, that's not what I'm going to do. There is a method to my madness. And yes, there are sequins on my desk because I bought a Pat McGrath beauty product and it came in a pouch with sequins. And now I have sequins everywhere. So I thought, wouldn't it be festive if I use these same sequins in my video? You guys are going to see these sequins a lot until I vacuum them all up. Anyway, let's get into it. Look at this haul, y'all. First of all, we're going to start with the reason why I went to Barnes& and Noble the other day, because I did go to Barnes& and Noble the other day. We're going to start with one of the reasons. One of the reasons I went to Barnes& and Noble was because I was trying to get away from my family, to be very honest with you. Primarily the dog. Everybody was kind of working the nerve. I love them dearly, though. But I went to Barnes& and Noble to get some nonfiction because nonfiction, specifically memoirs, are my favorite genre.
We have The Power of Habit.
Let's find the nonfiction books in this stack. So we have The Swedish Art of Aging Exuberantly, and we have The Perfectionist's Guide to Losing Control. So this book I got because I am a perfectionist and I was looking for books on perfectionism. I found this book in a list of books, and when I saw it at the store, I had to pick it up. I also made a video on my other channel about perfectionism, and I do believe this book is linked in that video. I will put a link to that video in the description box so you guys can watch that video if you like. The Swedish Art of Aging Exuberantly is the next book from the author who wrote The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, which I do now want to read because, for one, I totally misread that title. Not misread it, but misunderstood it. I, for some reason, always skipped past that title because I just didn't get it. And that was on me, not on Margareta Magnusson, the author. But this is life wisdom from someone who will probably die before you. She's an older lady, and this book is filled with wisdom and cute illustrations, too. Oh, look at those cute illustrations. I love a book with illustrations, even if there's just a few of them. And then The Power of Habit. I think I have this book in hardback, but I'm not sure. But I need to just get better habits, y'all. Period. I do. So when I read these books, I read them very much for myself. This is a very selfish act. Talking about them is what I do for you guys. any book that I read because it's something that I want to learn from them, and then I share what I know. I have heard really good things about this book, and because I know in storage, I probably have it in hardback. I know I probably do, but I picked it up again because I won't be getting to my storage for another few months when my house is ready. So this will be something that I would like to read before that time. And just watched a video today about it as well. So looking forward to this. The next book in the stack, not this one, and not this one, this one, The Candy House by Jennifer Egan. I saw this in the airport on the way home from Miami and really wanted it and didn't buy it. And it was a good thing that I didn't buy it because I realized that there was a prequel, which is A Visit from the Goon Squad. So I decided that I would not buy this book until I read A Visit from the Goon Squad. Well, guess what? I read A Visit from the Goon Squad, gave it a 4.75 stars, loved it, and now this is the sequel. Mind you, they're not calling it a sequel. I have not yet heard anyone refer to this as a sequel. I even watched the top 10 best books of 2022 for the New York Times top 10 best books for 2022, and they didn't refer to it as a sequel. They just say that it has some of the same characters and it's set in the same world. I don't know. What makes a sequel a sequel? I guess we're going to find out. But I am excited to read this book. This one is apparently better than A Visit from the Goon Squad. It is very new. It just came out and I'm here for it. So we shall see. So, as y'all know, it is Black History Month, and it just so happens that I'm Black. I know, right? Who knew? While I do happen to be a Black woman, I read all different kinds of authors. I am not tied to any one um, author or any one type of author. I am open to all kinds of experiences. I am open to all kinds of people. I don't care what race you are. I don't care where you come from. I just want to know your story. But it is Black History Month, and right now there's a lot of promotion of Black books. So, because of that, I can actually discover books from Black authors that, for the most part, would be more appealing to me. Now, we do have some books that are just classics, and that's what this is. James Baldwin's Giovanni's Room, which I have been wanting to read for a long time. And I mean, James Baldwin and I, honestly, we do a little dance with each other because I'm not sure our views align 100%. That's not to say there's anything bad about how he viewed the world. I just view it a little bit differently because obviously I'm a different person. I'm a woman, he's not. I mean, there's a lot. And I'm in the era of living softly. I'm in the era of living my best life. I should probably look at you when I say these things. I'm in an era where I don't want to deal with trauma. I don't want to deal with pain. I shouldn't say I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to deal with it anymore. I've decided that my life is what I make it. I decided that no matter what, I'm always going to try to reach the highest height of living. I'm going to look for the beauty in the world. I'm going to extend grace to others, and hopefully they extend grace back to me. I'm not going to live my life based on what I look like. I'm not going to live my life based on the fact that I'm a woman. I'm not going to live my life based on my age. What do I mean by those things? To me, those things are superpowers, and I won't let anybody tell me any different. So while there is oppression in the world, while there are things that we want in life to be more equal, while we just want to be left alone sometimes to thrive, um, that is not the foundation of my life, and it never will be, and it never has been. I believe that all of those things need to be resolved, but I also believe that life is not ever going to be without its trials and tribulations. So that doesn't have to be my day to day existence. We acknowledge that, we fight that when we need to. But on the flip side, I would prefer to no longer fight and claw and scratch to live life. I am a very powerful manifester. I believe in manifesting. I believe in prayer. And I believe that we do have some control over what we allow to take us down and what we don't. There's the pep talk. You had to know it was coming. So for me, I don't see life as this race against this race, women against men, blah blah blah. Yeah, there are injustices. Let's talk about it, but let's not make it our whole identity. Okay? So, I was looking for books by Black authors that don't center around pain. Because guess what? We make love, we eat good food, we laugh, we dance, we have joys. Every person on the planet is going to have good and bad happen to them. Every person on the planet is going to have ups and downs. None of us is going to get out of this alive. Okay. But how much trauma you allow yourself to feel and how much you allow it to take over your life, that is actually in your control. And I know that that has not always been the case throughout history. People have endured horrible, horrific things. And I can't explain that. But what I can do is say that while I have control over my life, as much as I do, I'm going to control that aspect of it. So I am going to read Giovanni's Room, even though I hear that it's not that it, even though I know that it's kind of a sad tale, but I'm going to read it because I think, I don't know, I'm drawn to it for some reason. But I did find some other books that don't center completely around struggle and also show different aspects of the characters that they portray. And they are by Black authors. And that is just what I prefer to read. So, especially when it comes from authors of color. I do not want to be traumatized every time I pick up a book. So I have Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. This threatens to be a really fun romance book. Now, I know some people don't like Jasmine Guillory and some people do. I typically don't base my reads off of what other people like and what other people don't because my criteria for reading is probably very different. So I just want to have a good time. And if it's a good time, that's all that matters. I'm not here to judge people. I'm not here to judge characters. If it's a good time, it's a good time. Okay. So, one of the things that I love is a good story, and I don't want to alter your story. So, if you tell me your story, then I'm going to assume that's the story and that's what we're sticking to. And I accept it at face value. From scratch, I picked this up from Barnes and Noble because I want to watch the Netflix series, but I want to read the book first because they always say the book is better. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. That's just not 100% true. But I don't know. I just want to read the book first. I feel like this would be a good read. I love this cover. Yeah, these don't come off, but that's fine. I probably will though. I saw this in hardback on Amazon and the cover is absolutely stunning. And it's also in large print, which if you hadn't noticed, I wear glasses. So anything that will help me see where I can still hold the book and see is wonderful. So that's this one by Tim B. Locke. I've heard great things about the series, so I think the book is probably going to be great. I swear I feel like I always pick up stuff from Reese's book club, like I just do. Um, and I don't necessarily do it on purpose. I feel like we're around the same age, so we probably have a similar taste in books, just based on growing up around the same time. So I think we're around the same age. I'm pretty sure we are. Anyway, this looks great. And then a novel, Half Blown Rose, Lisa Cross Smith. Taylor Jenkins Reid says it's an utterly intoxicating story of love, betrayal, and loyalty. I looked up a list of books that were Black books that don't give like trauma. And this one and the Jasmine Guillory books were on the list. So I saw this one and I'm excited. And I'm also excited about the formatting in the book too. It looks really cool. But we shall see. We shall see how this goes. Three books that I saw at the store that I just picked up because I saw them at the store. I was intrigued by the covers. I had heard about this Pure Color one though, but I was half listening to a review on it. But then when I saw it in the store, I was like, well, let me read the synopsis of it. And so I did, and I enjoyed it. I'll read the synopsis to you since it's a book called Pure Color, and you probably, if you haven't heard of it, you won't know what it's about. And the title does not give you any clues. So it's a new novel about art, love, death, and time from the author of Motherhood and How Should a Person Be? Here we are, just living in the first draft of creation, which was made by some great artist who is now getting ready to tear it apart. In this first draft, a woman named Myra leaves home for school. There she meets Annie, whose tremendous power opens Myra's chest like a portal to what? She doesn't know. When Myra, or Mira, I should say, is older, her beloved father dies and she enters a strange and dizzying dimension that true loss opens up. Pure Color tells the story of a life from beginning to end. It is a galaxy of a novel. Explosive, celestially bright, huge, and streaked with beauty, it is a contemporary Bible, an atlas of feeling, and a shape-shifting epic. Sheila Heti is a philosopher of modern experience, and she has reimagined what a book can hold. I still don't really know what it's about, but I'm going to read it. Then My Nemesis. Now, this one is about a couple who meets another couple, and one of the women in the couple, she's very successful. She runs her own business, I do believe. I think that's right. No, she's a writer. I lied. And basically, she's hating on the wife of the other couple because that wife is very submissive. What is the word? Subservient to her husband. And Tessa's the main character's name. She can't get with that. That's a problem for her. I don't know why, because it's not her circus or her monkeys. However, she, declares that Wa, the lady who, has chosen to serve her husband or whatever, is an insult to womankind. I am essentially a retired housewife. And one could say that for quite a while now, I have been very subservient to my husband. I am dependent upon him like wives were back in the 1950s to a certain extent. I mean, if I need to get money, I get money, but I haven't needed to do that because he's been a very good husband. Thank you, God. That's what I prayed for. That's what I got. Yeah, I want to know what Tessa's problem is. No, I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, this just resonated with me. It's this to me is more my experience than just the color of my skin. And I know that may sound really weird to some people. I've often been asked, do I often consider myself a woman first or black first? And I've always answered a woman first because my womanhood has both been a wonderful, beautiful thing to behold, and it has also put me in peril at times. And it has done that more than my skin color has. That is just my personal experience. I know that's not every Black person's experience. I know for sure. And I totally, wholeheartedly stand by people whose experience is different from mine. But that hasn't been my experience. So when I walk through the world, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you see it, being a woman is always first and foremost in my mind, being female in particular, because my skin color had nothing to do with anything that happened to me or transpired in my life that happened primarily because I was a female. And I'm going to leave it at that. You don't have to agree. It's not your life. It's not your circus. It's not your monkeys. It's mine. We can still be friends. You can still come sit by me as long as you behave. I can't wait to break into this book. I usually don't judge characters, but I might be a little judgy on this one. Usually I don't though. And then The Uncommon Reader. I picked this up is another book that I just saw and picked it up because I was like, "Oh my goodness. It's a little novella, a book about why books matter to the queen." It's kind of a satire, obviously. The Uncommon Reader is a political and literary satire, but it's also a lovely lesson in the redemptive and subversive power of reading and how one book can lead to another and another and another. But most of all, The Uncommon Reader is a lot of fun to read. Her corgi straight into a mobile library parked near Buckingham Palace, the Queen feels duty bound to borrow a book, discovering the joy of reading widely from J.R. Ackerley, Jean Genet, and Ivy Compton Burnett to the classics. And intelligently, she finds that her view of the world changes dramatically. Abetted in her newfound obsession by Norman, a young man from the royal kitchens, the queen comes to question the prescribed order of the world and loses patience with the routines of her role as monarch. Her new passion for reading initially alarms the palace staff and soon leads to surprising and very fun consequences for the country at large. It is satirical, but I love the queen, and I would love to think that she stumbled upon reading and it changed her world because I am a queen in my own life and reading has done just that for me. God rest her soul. Sometimes you just stumble upon a book. You don't know very much about it. I saw a review. Well, actually, the review was happening And I was like, let me look up this book. I totally forgot about the review and looked up the book. And I was like, oh, I'm going to download the sample. And honestly, I did it on Audible. And honestly, I did it because, no, I take that back. I think it was Kindle. Either way, it was a sample. And I was just intrigued by the title, A Love Letter to Whiskey. I really did think it was a love letter to whiskey, the drink. It is not. Whiskey does factor in this book a little bit, but it's whiskey is actually a person. And I downloaded the sample, started reading it, and like 30 pages later, I was like, "Oh, I need to buy this book. I need to buy this book." Big, thick baby though. She is thick, hunty. Let me tell you. She is 400. Wait a minute. 493 pages. She may take a minute, but the sample that I read was very interesting. Book Talk, BookTube, Bookstagram made me do it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Saw a review on this, The House in the Cerulean Sea. It's about a caseworker checking on some kids, I do believe, out on an island. They have magical powers. I also bought this book because it is gorgeous. I love the color on the pages. I just love that. Severance by Ling Ma, another one that I saw on several people's reviews for 2022. This is the lady who wrote about the pandemic before we had a pandemic, but it's not our pandemic. It was her take on one. And she also basically is talking about hustle culture and work life and how I'm assuming that most people wouldn't even notice if the world was ending because they're working so hard. So this threatens to be good. I got this one because I've seen how polarizing it is. People either really hate this book or really love this book. I tend to gravitate towards things that people don't like because I tend to not read books for the same reason as other people. And I'm very empathetic and sympathetic to characters because I believe that every story, as I've said before, is someone's story and they ought to be allowed to tell it. This intrigues me, and apparently it's very sarcastic and funny. And, she's not the nicest character, the main character, which I'm kind of here for someone that's not perfect. So, and also this cover. Something about this cover, I don't know. Somebody needs to explain this to me. This cover, I have feelings about it, but it's by Otessa Mossfay, and I think I'm gonna like it, to be very honest with you. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I have seen this everywhere. Everybody and their mama is reading this. It was very anticipated when it came out. What is this on my desk? And it's right up my alley because it's about these two young people who meet at a hospital when they're young. They bond over video games. I am the Miss Pac-Man champion. I can get to the Ice Blue Junior. If you know, you know. If you don't, look it up, Google it. But I can still do it even now at my big age. And I'm here for any book that's like set in the 80s, or set over several years or starts in the 80s. I'm here for any book that talks about video games because I played Galaga, I played Phoenix. I would literally stop at the liquor store. Yes, I'm from the hood, South Central LA. We had liquor stores. I would stop at the liquor store and I would play with my friends after school for hours. Used to get in trouble for that too, but that's okay. My grades didn't suffer. All right. Now, going back to Black History Month for a minute, I also did pick up another book, and I'm going to let um, Past Me tell you a little bit about this one. But this one, it kind of deals with struggle, but it's not necessarily focused on solely on the common Black struggle in America, but there are some racial themes in this book. But this book is a little sexy. I will let Past Me tell you about it. Oh, are we rolling? Oh, my bad. course, we're rolling. I just pushed the button. Just wanted to pop in and mention that I have started reading Luster by Raven Leilani. I am on chapter 3, and this book will appear in my weekend reading vlog. I decided to do a weekend reading vlog where I read from Friday to Sunday, and we'll see how many books I get through. I'm not the fastest reader, so it probably won't be that many, but it should still be interesting. I've yet to start chapter 3. I've just finished chapter 2 of this book. I'm already very intrigued. It's very sexy, but not in a gross way. Again, I'm only on chapter 3, though. That could change. But the characters are interesting. I find the characters very interesting. I find Edie, the main character, obviously, I'm meant to find her very interesting, and I do. She's in her 20s. She's trying to find her way, and she has made some questionable choices, but that's her life. And who am I to judge? I'm not. I just read the stories the way they're told to me. She finds herself in a relationship with a married man who is in an open relationship. I do believe I am about to embark on the part where she meets the wife. That's what it seems like has happened, and we are going to explore that. But before we do, if you read the first part of chapter 3, the first page, we got to go back and get a little bit of history from my dear Edie. This is interesting. It deals with race, it deals with romantic feelings, family issues, adoption. I feel like this book has a lot. One of the things I already like is how it's written, because it's written as if you are listening to a pretty present day story, although I don't believe it's written in present day. I have to explore that. I'll get back to you on that. It's very interesting, and I'm loving it so far. And a lot of different outlets have given it best book of the year, and even Barack Obama liked it. So I think we're in good company. I got one book because of the author of the book, Neil Gaiman. I have heard so much about Neil Gaiman since I started really like seriously watching BookTube, and even before watching BookTube, because there's a lot of productivity vloggers who I watched as well, and I still do watch, who talk about Neil Gaiman and how awesome he is. And so I saw Coraline. It was in a weird section of the store. They just had a bunch of different types of books, and I saw Coraline, and I have seen the movie, and I just want to give it a try. I think this is a good place to start with Neil Gaiman. This one is all because of the author, because I've heard such great things about the author. Books I got simply for how they look. I collect coffee table books, and so I bought 2 of the Kinfolk. This is the Kinfolk Entrepreneur, and the Kinfolk Garden book, because I have coffee table books, collect coffee table books, collect beautiful books. A lot of these like mass-produced paperbacks that are, on really thin paper, they will probably go by the wayside at some point. And when I say that, I don't mean I'm going to throw them away. I mean, like, I will probably donate a lot of those. But the books that I do want to keep are, my special editions, my hardbacks, especially the ones with beautiful covers, and my coffee table books. I may do a whole video on coffee table books because I am pretty obsessed with them. I use them to decorate with. I use them for, leverage to place my camera on when I'm vlogging. I use them for everything. So, and I read them. I read them too, because they're always full of great information, especially when the photography is so yummy. 2 more books that I got because of how they look. Emma by Jane Austen, the signature classic. This particular one is just beautiful, and I could not resist buying this book simply because of how it looked. And I got TJ Klune's next book, even though I have not heard anything about this one, Under the Whispering Door. I got this one because, again, look how pretty it is. Yeah, so looks like these will stay in my collection for sure because they're gorgeous. Here's The House in the Cerulean Sea right next to it. They are just Beautiful. I love when companies do this. I love this stuff. I'm a sucker for this. If you want to sell me a book, paint something on it, draw something on it, you know, give it some sort of character, and I'll buy it. It's like I'm that person that people are always saying, I got a bridge I want to sell you. Yeah, that's me. I got a book I want to sell you. I was trying to show you guys the headings of the chapters. Look at that. I love that. I love that. That's in the Cerulean Sea one. Let's see if I do the same thing in the Whispering Door one. Oh, it's a little bit different. Let's see. I lost it, y'all. There we go. Oh, it's got the little tree there. Very nice. Very nice. Couple of books on Kindle. Currently reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And I am also a Bret Easton Ellis fan. So I'm going to pop up here the book that I got on Kindle, which is, it escapes me. The Rules of Attraction. I actually got it on Audible. I need to also get it on Kindle. I may be able to purchase it from Amazon, but I don't even know if it's still in print. But I got that book because Bret Easton Ellis went to school with Donna Tartt. They went to Bennington College together. We know that The Secret History is set in Hampton College, which is a fictional version of Bennington. Okay, everybody knows this. Well, maybe everybody doesn't, but a lot of us do. Anyway, Bret Easton Ellis was definitely one of her contemporaries. They went to school together. They're apparently friends. And in his book, The Rules of Attraction, he has Easter eggs from A Secret History or The Secret History. And I'm here for a good Easter egg. I like stuff like that. I like I like I like Marvel movies. I'm not like really deep into them, but I do get the Easter eggs sometimes, and I think that's so cool. And the same with Ready Player One. There were a ton of Easter eggs in that, and so I got that book specifically for that. I also picked up Being Mortal by Atul Gawande because now that I've read Paul Kalani's book, When Breath Becomes Air, and I saw a documentary on Being Mortal, I am intrigued. That was a lot, but I got through this video. So we had a ton of books here. I'm saying like maybe 25, 22 books. Math. My math don't be math. And 22 books, which seems like a lot, but these were collected over time. I didn't just go out and buy 22 books in one day. I'm excited. I am also really excited because when I move, I will have these lovely books to put on my bookshelf, and I can speak to them and annotate them and share them with others and just learn more about how to live a rich and full life. I'm going to go now because I have talked a lot. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want more of this. Like, share, or save these videos so that you can, and I will try to list all of these books. Y'all, that's going to be a feat. It may take a minute. But that being said, I will see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.